was your biggest threw your hands in the air moment or your biggest just LOL chuckle yesterday during the game? Was it the Terrence Steele non-fumble recovery that almost took out Dak Prescott on the sideline? Was it the Zeke fumble? Was it Zeke going back in to get the very next carry when Rico Dowdle had a star up from all of us in the first half? Was it any of Kalen Carson getting picked on before he was benched? What was it?
For me, it was I think they're benching Cooper Rush for the rest of the game.
Yep.
And then they went, haha, just kidding. There was 2 handoffs, and now he's going back in there because we need somebody to throw the ball a yard. So that was what I was like, all right.
2 yards, sir.
When they did that, I was like, all right, they have no plan.
Right.
They have no idea what they're doing out there. They are just going, well, let's try this. Let's try this. They are in.
It was 28-6 with 2:56 left. Lance comes in.
The third, right?
Yes.
Dude,
2 plays.
Cooper Rush got booed running through the Miller Lite hallway leaving the game.
He did.
The fans that are sitting there are booing him running through.
And here's another Cowboy microcosm. Bobby, you probably weren't able to see this in the press box. It didn't appear clear to Rush and Lance on who was going in.
Right.
You saw that?
Cooper starts to run in.
Yeah.
And then they call him back, and then you see Trey running out, and it's like
it was not communicated.
Yeah.
And then
Something
they just
was
felt
not-
bad. So they're like, go back in, Cooper. Come
Something
on.
was not communicated clearly. Maybe it was Kenny Pickett in at the start of the fourth quarter. That's how bad it was. But for me as well, it was the Lance Rush thing.
Yeah, and it's weird because their communication is usually so strong as a football team and as a coaching staff that I'm stunned that they didn't have it straight of who was supposed to go in there. It felt like a complete lack of preparation across the board. It felt like a team that's just not good enough to stack up against even the most average football teams in the NFL right now. It's a bad team. If this team is the one that would have fielded for the Cowboys week 1, I don't know that this is a team that I feel comfortable saying wins more than 2-3 games.
Yeah, and like, look, that was just one of 3 or 4 of those moments, of those OF moments. What's going on here? But the idea to A, the miscommunication of putting him in, B, putting him in there, which I agree with. I wanted him to be in there at that point. But then you're going to take him out on 2nd and 16 because there was a holding call, and now you're behind the chains. So you're just taking him out to throw a 2-yard pass? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Let him throw. And did you only put Cooper back in there because it was 2nd and 16? Like, was Trey going to play if it was 3rd and 3?
There was an insane sequence of events. I'm trying to find it on the play log. I think it was right after they scored. Philadelphia did to make it 21-6. And Dallas came out, or maybe the next drive, where their play call was a handoff to Dowdle for 1, a screen to Dowdle for 1, a throw in the flat to Tolbert for 2. And it's like,
yeah.
Have you just decided the game's over now and you're just trying to get through, like you're just trying to run plays to run out clock? Like, you had no intention of making a first down on that series, it felt like.
The 3rd and 3 run to Rico at the goal line, I was angry. I was angry with that. The Zeke fumble, I just laughed.
Yeah.
That was just comical. I was like, oh, of course.
Here's McCarthy on Trey Lance and if he would start games. Quote, "We're not there yet. I mean, we had a package for him. We wanted to get him into the flow of the game was the thought process coming in here. Then to get him in when we did, then I took him out on the 3rd down. I just believe in reps." None of this makes sense so far.
He's just a bad coach. He is a bad coach.
None of this makes sense. I mean, that 3rd down segment there, not that he couldn't run the plays. I just didn't want to put him in there, something that he hadn't had a lot of reps in. I put Cooper back in for that play for 3rd down. We had the turnover there, something I'll obviously discuss tomorrow. It's just, what? I'm just shaking my head like trying to make sense of it.
And that's the thing, you start running out of adjectives really fast of how to describe what this team has been the last few weeks, what they are right now, and it just all comes back to the one unifying 3-letter word that underpins everything with them, and it's bad. They are bad across the board. It is a bad football team with bad execution, bad preparation. They're just not good. And they have a entire coaching staff that's not good and doesn't know how to prepare teams.
Tony Romo did not sound thrilled. I think I heard this correctly. When Trey started going in, Romo said, I hate this for him. I thought he kind of started saying that. He didn't like him going in with that type of situation.
So it's like sending a reliever in with the bases loaded, nobody out, like put him in a clean inning? Maybe that's what it is.
I don't know. But I had that written down. Tony kept talking about, he really got on Jalen Tolbert during the Lance pick. I felt like it was Peyton Manning defending a quarterback during Monday Night Football and the Manning cast. He's like, Jalen Tolbert is running this pattern like he's covering a punt. Like, you have to turn back and look at the football. If memory serves me correct, I thought Romo looked great a few years ago, hyping up Cooper Rush. Was it before the Vikings? Was his first game against the Vikings?
Yeah. Cincinnati, right, was the you talking about the 4-1 season?
Yeah, because we talked about it at the time as like, is he like subtly taking shots here at Dak with the way he's hyping this up?
I heard none of that yesterday from Romo before the game, in the lead-in, in the build-up. And I thought we were going to hear, hey, I'm a big fan of Cooper Rush. Look what this guy did, 4-1 a few years ago. And Romo looked good in calling that before the 5-game stretch. And I didn't hear any of that from Tony yesterday before the game, which I was surprised by. He also seemed to be criticizing the Cowboys' game plan. He kept saying, what you have to do against this Vic Fangio defense is go to the middle of the field. You have to go to the middle of the field. And, of course, all we're getting is screens and little swing passes out to Rico or reverses to CeeDee Lamb that we've already seen 400 times.
So that Minnesota game was the one-off. That was after Dak hurt his calf against New England. Was it the calf?
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Would he have been talking about that? Because that was a Sunday Night Football game against Minnesota.
Right. No, I know. But I'm saying, but that was... So Cooper played 4-1 the following year. This was the one-off game where Dak got hurt in New England. They beat New England in overtime. The pass to CD.
Yeah.
They have a bye, and Cooper plays that Minnesota game. That was that crazy catch by CD where he was behind the guy, almost horizontal.
Yeah. But I just didn't hear any of that rush love early on from Tony. I just marked it down, and then he kept talking about like the fundamentals and the little things, blocking, communication issues, and what you see with this football team. So those were my Romo observations from yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't hear the analysis there, but everybody I think was stunned from a media perspective, just like, this is so much worse than even you would have anticipated. It looked so much worse than just Atlanta the previous week. Like the way that they played down the stretch there. This was just looked like a guy who had no ability to throw the ball past the sticks at all.
So now what at quarterback? What should happen, RJ Choppy?
Well, what should happen is they should play Trey Lance. If Cooper Rush was going to play 2021 or 2022 Cooper Rush, I'd keep playing him. Because, Cooper in that Minnesota game, he had 325 yards passing, right?
Yesterday he looked like a totally different guy.
Totally different guy. We're not even talking about...
He may as well... I'm not joking. He may as well have been throwing left-handed. That's how putrid and despicable and disgusting this offense was.
And in the 4-1...
And Mike McCarthy's right there to blame for it, too.
The 4-1, he had 235, 215, 223, 102, and 181. And the 181 was his only loss. Now, the 102, whatever, but, they still won the game. But he at least never made it look like he was incompetent. If he's not going to look like a solid NFL player, just might as well play Trey Lance. You got nothing to lose.
What are you trying to accomplish? Are you actually trying to win games or you tank? If you're trying to win games, you should put Trey Lance in at this point. Because put Trey Lance in and run read option. You need to run, like Brian was calling it last night, run college-style offense.
Yeah.
Because Rico Dowdle's showing he can run the ball somewhat effectively. Trey Lance is a threat on the read option. You might be able to get some easy windows to throw the ball. It obviously cannot be worse throwing the ball than what Cooper Rush was. So if you want an opportunity to win, it's probably Trey Lance in a read option offense.
And anyone on this team that has an injury guarantee in their contract for next year, sit them. Right? That you don't want. If you don't want him on the Giants should never play Daniel Jones again. He's got a $20-something million injury guarantee for next year. They should never put him out there again because they don't want him. If you got somebody on this team that's like that, sit him down.